getting ready to listen. There are two aspects before we go to the story. Number 1, the story and you. In this story, you will meet Kaddo, a very wealthy man. He refuses to share anything, and he builds a wall to shut out the people around him. But you do not have to be rich to share things with others. For example, people can share their home, their food, their time, or their knowledge. You can probably think of a time when you or someone you know shared something with someone else or with others. Tell what happened in the comment below if you have any idea about this story. Number 2, learning about literature. Kaddo's Wall is a West African folktale. The folktales that we listen today are stories that were first told or handed down by many people over the years. Like many folktales from around the world, West African folktales usually do more than amuse or entertain. They often teach a lesson. This is true of Kaddo's Wall. After you listen the folktale, lesson or lessons it teaches. Do you think that the people in the story live in a big city or in a town? From the title of the folktale, you can tell that a wall plays an important part in the story. Why do you think that someone would build a wall? Well, listen to it to see if you are right. Before we go to the story, I would like to invite you to hit subscribe to get more story like this. Kaddo's Wall is a West African story. The people of Ghana appear in many West African folktales. In the town of Tendella, in the kingdom of Sina, north of the Gulf of Guinea, there was a rich man by the name of Kaddo. His fields spread out on every side of the town. At plowing time, hundreds of men and boys hoed up his fields, and then hundreds of women and girls planted his corn seed in the ground for him. His grain bulged in his granary, because each season he harvested far more than he could use. The name of Kaddo was known far and wide throughout the kingdom of Seno. Travelers who passed through the town carried tales of his wealth far beyond Seno's borders. One day, Kaddo called all of his people in the town of Tendella together for a big meeting in front of his house. They all came, for Kaddo was an important man, and they knew he was going to make an important announcement. "There's something that bothers me," Kaddo said. "I've been thinking about it for a long time. I've lain awake, worrying. I have so much corn in my granary that I don't know what to do with it." The people listened attentively and thought about Kaddo's words. Then a man said, "Some of the people of the town have no corn at all. They are very poor and have nothing. Why don't you give some of your corn to them?" Kaddo shook his head and said, "No, that isn't a very good idea. It doesn't satisfy me." Another man said to Kaddo, "Well, then, you could lend corn to the people who have had a bad harvest and have no seed for the spring planting. That would be very good for the town and would keep poverty away." "No," Kaddo said, "that's no solution either." "Well, then why not sell some of your corn and buy cattle instead?" Another man said. Kaddo shook his head. "No, it's not very good advice. It's hard for people to advise a rich man with problems like mine." Many people made suggestions, but nobody's advice suited Kaddo. He thought for a while, and at last he said, "Send me as many young girls as you can find. I will have them grind the corn for me." The people went away. They were angry with Kaddo, but the next day they sent 100 girls to work for him as he had asked. On 100 grindstones they began to grind Kaddo's corn into flour. All day long they put corn into the grindstones and took flour out. All day long the people of the town heard the sound of the grinding at Kaddo's house. A pile of corn flour began to grow. For 7 days and 7 nights the girls ground corn without a pause. When the last grain of corn was ground into flour, Kaddo called the girls together and said, "Now bring water from the spring. We shall mix it with the corn flour to make mortar out of it." So the girls brought water in water pots and mixed it with the flour to make a thick mortar. Then Kaddo ordered them to make bricks out of the mortar. "When the bricks are dry, then I shall make a wall of them around my house," he said. Word went out that Kaddo was preparing to build a wall of flour around his house, and the people of the town came to his door and protested. "You can't do a thing like this. It is against humanity," they said. "It's not right. People have no right to build walls with food," a man said. "Ah, what is right and what is wrong?" Kaddo said. "My right is different from yours because I am so very rich, so leave me alone. Corn is to eat so that you may keep alive," another said. "It's not meant to taunt those who are less fortunate. When people are hungry, it is an affront to shut them out with a wall of flour," another man said. "Stop your complaints," Kaddo said. "The corn is mine. It is my surplus. I can't eat it all. It comes from my own fields. I am rich. What good is it to be rich if you can't do what you want with your own property?" The people of the town went away, shaking their heads in anger over Kaddo's madness. The 100 girls continued to make bricks of flour, which they dried in the sun. And when the bricks were dry, Kaddo had them begin building the wall around his house. They used wet dough for mortar to hold the bricks together, and slowly the wall grew. They stuck cowrie shells into the wall to make beautiful designs. And when at last the wall was done and the last corn flour was used up, Kaddo was very proud. He walked back and forth and looked at his wall. He walked around it. He went in and out of the gate. He was very happy. And now when people came to see him, they had to stand by the gate until he asked them to enter. When the workers who plowed and planted for Kaddo wanted to talk to him, Kaddo sat on the wall by the gate and listened to them and gave them orders. And whenever the people of the town wanted his opinion on an important matter, he sat on his wall and gave it to them while they stood and listened. Things went on like this for a long time. Kaddo enjoyed his reputation as the richest man for miles around. The story of Kaddo's wall went to the farthest parts of the kingdom. Okay, now you already know Kaddo is a very rich man, had so much corn that he didn't know what to do with it all. People made suggestions, such as giving the corn to the hungry and poor. But Kaddo didn't listen to anyone, and he ordered that a wall of flour be built around his house. What do you think will happen to Kaddo? Do you think that the story will end happily or sadly? Please hit subscribe and stay tuned. We will continue listening to the final part together tomorrow.